allowed to march into the capital or not remains to be seen. Now in Syria, viewers, the president has fled the country and the prime minister has issued a statement saying that he is ready for any leadership change suggested by the people because the rebels have now breached Damascus, and the rebels have said that there is no presence of any army deployment in Damascus whatsoever. In fact, they have also taken control of the third city, Homs, and the civil war and the situation in Syria continues to intensify. And right now, what we are understanding is that the Syrian Prime Minister has issued a statement, according to local media reports, that he is ready to hand over the leadership to anybody who is chosen by the people. Now remember, it all began with Assad's crackdown on democracy protests, which has killed about 500,000 people in Syria. And now, according to the local media reports, what we understand is that Syria's Prime Minister says that he is ready to hand over government to the opposition. And Syrian Prime Minister Mohammad Ghazi Jalali said in a video statement that the government is ready to extend its hand to the opposition and hand over its functions to a transitional government. Let me read out the statement. He said, and I quote, "I am in my house. I have not left, and this is because of my belonging to this country." He also said that he would go to his office to continue work in the morning and called on Syrian citizens not to deface public property. He did not address reports that President Bashar Assad has left the country, because many reports have confirmed that the president has left the country, but the Prime Minister continues to remain mum on it. But local reports have suggested that he left Syria early on Sunday. Now let's listen into the reactions coming in.
Yes, but you recapture another area. So it's difficult to tell whether you were losing or gaining or it was a standstill. No one had this answer. But definitely after the Russian intervention in supporting the Syrian army, legally of course, we felt much better. We recaptured many main cities, many more main positions at the expense of the terrorist area.
I have called for urgent political talks in Geneva to implement Security Council Resolution 2254. I'm pleased to say that the ministers and all I'm talking to are backing this call. And my hope is that they will be able to announce a date for this very soon.
I remain very concerned by the potential for further large-scale attacks by the regime or by Russia. Any suggestion of the use of chemical weapons would be intolerable. The Assad regime has created the current situation through its ongoing refusal to engage in a political process, instead relying on Russia and Iran. I remain very concerned by the potential for further large-scale attacks by the regime or by Russia. Any suggestion of the use of chemical weapons would be intolerable. The Assad regime has created the current situation through its ongoing refusal to engage in a political process, instead relying on Russia and Iran.
Well, viewers, let me tell you what exactly happened and how it all started. First, there were democracy protests, and the crackdown was initiated by the Assad government. The protests were against Assad's leadership, and in the crackdown, viewers, around 500,000 people have been killed by the forces. In fact, this all started on November 27th. The rebels on Sunday announced full control of Homs, the third main city in the nation, and are on their way towards Damascus. This is what we have learned so far. The alliance, the rebel alliance, is led by Islamist leader Hayat Tahrir al-Sham. In fact, the rebels have also given a clarion call to all Syrians living abroad, asking them to return to New Syria. So what is this New Syria that they're talking about? Only time will tell. But the offensive was launched on November 27th. And since then, Aleppo, the second largest city, has fallen to the rebels. Syria's civil war began with the crackdown And according to the United Nations, about 3.7 lakh people have been displaced so far. In fact, US President-elect Donald Trump has also reacted to the raging conflict in Syria, saying that the US should not get involved and it should stay out of it, as this is not their war to fight. Let's now take a quick check